My name is Darokal. Thanks for being with us tonight. 3 former African diplomats have been shortlisted for a final pick to head the Secretariat of the Continental Free Trade Area in Accra. Now, the exercise, which is expected to end this weekend, that's on Sunday, February 9, has no Ghanaian in the finalists despite the country hosting the Secretariat for the most ambitious trade area. The successful candidate will begin work from March this year in Accra, 4 months prior to the full implementation of the agreement. Ebenezer Sabti has more in the following report.
In all, about 121 applicants were received for the topmost position of the CFTA Secretariat. 2 Ghanaians who made it during the application process could not advance after the second screening process that brought the number down to 30 earlier in the week. The 3 finalists are Cecilia Akintomide from Nigeria, Wamkele Mene from South Africa, and Faustin Luanga from the Republic of Congo. Cecilia Akintomide served as a former vice president of the African Development Bank and also a general secretary of the bank. Besides this, Cecilia is a practicing lawyer in Lagos State. 40-year-old South African Wamkele Mene served as the head of mission to the World Trade Organization for his country, South Africa. And the 3rd finalist is Democratic Republic of Congo's Faustina Luanga, with an over 20 years experience dealing with the diplomatic and economic relations, both on national and international platforms. Luanga has also been instrumental in the drafting of the Continental Free Trade Agreement as a country's representative on the board, adding his experience as senior economist at the World Trade Organization. It is clear that all 3 have great experience on continental trade and diplomacy, but the final decision falls on the heads of state of the African Union, who are currently meeting in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. The selection will be made and an official announcement will be issued by the Commissioner for Trade and Industry, Albert Muchanga, on Sunday, February 9. With the credentials of the finalists, one may consider Nigeria and South Africa being the biggest economies in Africa and what they bring on board as General Secretary of the Administrative Office. However, Nigeria is yet to ratify the agreement, which some analysts fear may be used against the former General Secretary of the African Development Bank from Nigeria if ratification is being added as a criteria, and also the fact that Nigeria is already occupying key positions on similar institutions in the continent, like the Afri-Exim Bank and African Development Bank. Luanga from DRC has close advantage due to the role he played in the promulgation of the articles for the agreement, and DRC being one of the strong advocates of AFCTA from the East African bloc. Ghana is losing out in the Secretary General position, but that will certainly not be the end of the road for the country, because there are going to be other portfolios that will be by appointment, and hosting a secretariat will be an easy way to get Ghanaians in some management positions. Ibn Sabote's report for Joy Business.
Now, spokesperson for the receiver of the defunct microfinance companies as well as savings and loans companies, Philomena Kuzo, has been justifying the recent low sales experience at the first auction process for vehicles belonging to defunct firms. According to her, the process has been successful looking at the number of vehicles sold so far. However, she insists the receiver will be calling back the evaluators to review prices of the remaining vehicles, that's vehicles that couldn't be sold at the end of the exercise. She spoke to Joy Business at the end of the first process in Accra.
The auction process began with more than 160 vehicles, but ended up with just 115 being sold before the close of the process on Friday. Though the last day recorded low patronage, the receiver has expressed satisfaction with the results so far. Depositors will have to exercise some patience until all the assets of the respective companies have been sold. According to the spokesperson for the receiver, the process has been successful, but the remaining vehicles will be revalued and auctioned again.
When we started initially and they said give an offer, somebody mentioned as low as 1,000 Ghana for a Toyota car, which is, I mean, not too, if that was the expectation, then that was bad. Then it was really dash, because there was no way we could sell a vehicle for 1,000 cedis.
Could you also be that maybe the valuers didn't do a good job?
I think they did a good job. If we have sold these number of cars, we've sold about 115, and then we are still selling. I think they did a good job. Honestly, for those that maybe they think were on the high, we will go back to the valuers and they will revalue it.
She has also disclosed that the receiver has begun the process to bring down all assets of other firms that are outside Accra for the next auction.
It's been good. If there are any mistakes that we have realized, we will go back, correct them, and the next batch we will improve. But I think on the whole, it's been good.
When is the next batch?
The date is not set, but we've gathered some more assets. We need to bring them down to Accra. So when we finish gathering them in Accra, we'll go ahead with the sales.
Meanwhile, the receiver has taken charge of some land properties which will also be auctioned later on.
270,000 for the almighty Toyota Land Cruiser. 270,000. No response. Hey, I'm surprised.
Interesting week. Well, Ghana's lands bill is expected to be passed soon to harmonize laws related to land issues, including land use regulation and enhancing effective management of lands in the country. The bill, which was first introduced in Parliament in 2018, was later withdrawn but tabled again before Parliament this year. According to Technical Director for Lands at the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, Ebenezer Kobna-Dazen, they are hopeful the bill will be passed before the end of the year.
The law, among other things, seeks to consolidate and harmonize in one simplified form about 166 existing laws related to land to regulate land use and enhance effective land management in the country. According to the Technical Director for Lands at the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, they are hopeful the bill will be passed before the end of tenure of the current Parliament.
We are consolidating all the laws regarding land in the country. Some are obsolete, they will be discarded, and then there are new ones. Given technology worldwide, we need to make our laws relevant globally, and so that's what we are doing. We are bringing in customary laws as well, and also looking at the land sector agencies, their roles, and etc. So it is a comprehensive law that would deal with all our land issues from one document. The bill right now has gone beyond the Lands Commission and the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. It's at the floor of Parliament for the second reading, so it is a matter for Parliament to deal with. We are very optimistic that by the end of the tenure of this Parliament, we should have a Land Act in place.
He also adds other bills such as the Real Estate Bill, as well as the Survey and Council Bill, are also before Parliament.
There's actually also the Survey Council Bill, which is also being worked on now. So all of them are at various stages, and you know, when it's in Parliament, they have their own schedules, and so we cannot determine the completion date. But what we're doing is that we're doing all that needs to be done so that these things will see the light of day to serve the people of Ghana.
For Joy Business, Sheila Tamaklu reporting.
Moving on to one of our top stories tonight, a report from Bloomberg indicates Tallow Oil plans to cut a third of its staff to slash its administration costs by a fifth, or around $20 million. Sources say the situation is due to weak output in Ghana, delays in East Africa, and lower than hoped for oil quality in Guyana. Energy expert Ishmael Ejekumhene has been commenting on what it means for the industry.
Always driven by profits. And their fields, even before they decide to produce, will have to be very profitable. Otherwise, they won't go in to do it. Their revenues are driven by two main factors: price and also production volumes. It's clear that because the prices are not being well and production volumes are dipping, their revenues are affected. And once revenues are affected, then you need to cut costs. So obviously this is not a surprise, and this is very common in the oil industry. When fields are profitable or their projections have not been met, the likelihood is that.
Do you think it's bad times for Tallow Oil Ghana? I mean, necessarily because of this particular report that we are receiving?
Well, I won't put it as part-time, but it's clear that if a third of the staff, of Tallow staff, are going to be downsized or retrenched, it's quite a sizable commitment because Ghana is their cash cow. Look at their operation. In fact, in 2019, close to about 70% of their production, total production, came from Ghana. So it presupposes that if the Ghana operation is not big in the context of the portfolio, then I am not being a but it sounds like it might affect workforce in Ghana as well.
Well, so like
for Jubilee, we've always known the FPSO coming is very, very problematic. Year in, year out, they are revising their projection because it's taking much longer than they expected. The FPS. For the 10 projects, we are aware that there are gas issues. You know, we need to get rid of gas before we produce oil, and these fields are associated fields. So a combination of factors. But Jubilee, we've known is the FPSO in the main.
Okay.
But for the 10, I think it's the gas evacuation of gas and the fact that we have excess supply of gas. I think if the market were to do, they'll be forced to rather flare quite a substantive amount of gas. The market is not going too well. Demand have dipped, and the coronavirus is just taking a hit. So I think in Ghana it's quite obvious, and the problem has been lingering for some time now, as the Kwame Nkrumah well, they've said that it's an option on the table. Selling the assets, it's an option on the table. I think it depends on how they see the long-term future of the field. But there's no doubt that Jubilee and 10 and these fields are profitable. I think it's only a matter of these problems going to be. But the industry is such they can't keep staff if they are not making money. So, I mean, their projection $20 million money if they're able to. Right? So these people, the good thing is that once the business picks up, they are going to recruit people anyway. So it's cycle work in those.
President Akufo-Addo has cut short for the construction of 2 solar power plants in Tallow and Laura, all in the Upper West region, under a 17-megawatt peak solar power project. The president noted in an address that the project will be the first grid-connected solar power plant in the region and hoped it would drive development of the region. JoyNews Upper West correspondent Rafiq Salam was at the sword cutting ceremony at Tallow and our reports.
The construction of the 2 solar plants, comprising of 13 and 14 megawatts at Tallow and Laura respectively, are funded by the German Government Development Bank, KfW, at a cost of 22.8 million euros. President Akufo-Addo said the project reaffirms his government's commitment to diversify the country's energy generation portfolio and thereby help increase the renewable energy component of the country's energy mix and contribute to a fight against the effects of climate change. He said upon completion, it will help Ghana avoid an estimated 7,400 tons of carbon dioxide emission every year, making the country a cleaner place to live in.
Project at Laura is scheduled to be completed in June this year, with the one in Tallow also scheduled to be completed by December this year. When finished, both projects will generate enough energy to power some 32,000 households and increase the geographic spread of power generation in the country.
President Akufo-Addo added the 17-megawatt solar power plants will be the first grid-connected solar power plants in the Upper West region and was thus expectant that it will serve as the impetus for the development of the region.
It will also create employment for our youth during the construction and operation stages of the project. Indeed, I've been assured by the Volta River Authority that just as it is being done at the 2.5 megawatt peak plant at Navrongo, the 17 megawatt peak solar plants will be operated and maintained by Ghanaians living in these areas. I will therefore encourage all the youth to stand in preparedness for this great opportunity.
German ambassador to Ghana, Christoph Raslav, in a brief remark stated that the German government was happy to be partnering their Ghanaian counterparts for the twin projects in the region.
The project addresses the challenges of climate change and the need for clean energy. It furthermore underlines the commitment of the government of Ghana to increase the share of renewable energy in the energy mix to 10% by 2030.
Energy Minister John Peter Amewu noted that as the world faces the consequences of climate change, it is paramount on the country to build resilience in the power sector.
Mr. President, I'm happy to mention that the 17 megawatt solar project is a perfect complement to the Akosombo and Kpo hydro projects that we have. This is because during the day, the solar plant will be used to free the energy space that will be taken up by the hydro. And so during the night, when the solar is down, we will therefore call on the two hydro projects.
Also present at the event was the second Deputy Speaker of Parliament, a member of Parliament for the Nadolo Kelio constituency, Alban Sumanakin Sport Babin.
His Excellency could have decided not to complete what has been initiated since 2012, which preparation took a long time and is now seeing the light of the day. So I want to congratulate His Excellency on behalf of our people and to assure him that we are solidly behind the government and any other government that is committed to developing the good people of Ghana.
Reporting for JoyNews, Rafik Salam, Keleo.
The closure of the Nigerian border with Benin is said to be impacting positively on Nigeria's economy. Although the Naira has not witnessed any significant appreciation yet, despite a cut in imports, reports indicate local production is gradually receiving a boost. We want to take you now to Nigeria and speak briefly with the business news editor at the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, Adenitan Olufisoye, to explore the issue more. Thanks for your time tonight. Glad we can speak to you. So tell us, to what extent has your country's economy been impacted positively by this move to shut the border with Benin? All right, it appears we lost Olufisoye there. Would try and get in touch with her, perhaps subsequently, to have a conversation around what's happening in Nigeria. But Managing Director of Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, Alexandra Martel, has debunked claims that private health insurance policies in Ghana are expensive and reserved only for the middle class. He tells Joy Business there are more innovative ways of reaching out to the informal sector. And the Cosmopolitan Insurance is partnering Vodafone to allow prospective clients to obtain low-cost insurance covers.
Today itself demystifies it, because if it's for the rich, we wouldn't have come up with the masses in terms of the telcos. And look at the prices that were even mentioned. So as demystification, the whole product itself has spoken for us. I don't think it's for the rich, because if in that innovation-wise attempt, as low as 5 cedis could be deducted, 5 cedis we spend more than 100 Ghana a day or 50 Ghana. So 5 cedis, 5 cedis, 5 cedis, you realize you would have paid. And in a way too, it helps you get down to the roots of the people, making sure that you are embracing everybody, not really segmenting anybody assigned or aligning that this is for the rich and this is for the poor. It cuts across. I think you even interviewed me this morning, you spent more than 20 Ghana.
All right, and that's it for Business Live tonight. Thanks for watching. More news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. Thanks again for being good company. The Multimedia Group celebrating 25 years of media excellence. Enjoy your weekend.